This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Brutal in this digital sports center presented by Montana's Barbecue and Bar. And tonight we've got an Atlantic Division showdown between two familiar foes. As the Panthers are in Montreal taking on the Habs. These teams have faced off twice in the last 3 weeks. And to a bit of a surprise, Montreal took both. But with how tight the Eastern Conference standings are right now, tonight's matchup will have huge playoff implications. Let's start with the Habs. They are narrowly ahead of the Rangers for the final wildcard spot, but including the Rangers, they've got 4 total teams, within just 3 points of them in the standings. So a win tonight against Florida would go a really long way, as it would give them a 2-point cushion over everyone. And with Montreal having the easiest remaining strength of schedule between these 5 teams, that cushion could be enough to push them to the postseason. But tonight is just as important for Florida as it is for Montreal. A few weeks ago, Florida had a 4-point lead over Toronto and Tampa for first in the Atlantic, and it seemed like they were likely to win their 3rd division title in 4 years. But things have since flipped, and Toronto now has a 3-point lead in the division. And on FanDuel, they're the favorites to win the Atlantic at +110, with Florida behind them at 2-1. While there's still time for the Panthers to turn things around, another loss to Montreal won't do them any favors. Those of you in the Habs region can watch the Panthers and Canadiens tonight on TSN. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 8 Atlantic. Although the Leafs have lost to both of these teams in the playoffs in recent history, I would still love to see an all-Canadian matchup. To the NFL, and are we any closer to Aaron Rodgers finally choosing a team? The Steelers have sort of been waiting this whole time for him to finally make a decision, with Minnesota also kind of lingering. Based off what we saw the other day at UCLA, Rodgers throwing a football with new Steelers receiver DK Metcalf, it made us think, yeah, maybe the Pittsburgh thing is going to happen. Now, we had a 6-hour visit with the Steelers at the facility just over a week ago. So what the hell is going on here? What is he waiting for? Well, that's where the Vikings loom and have us wondering if that door is fully closed.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers continue to wait for an answer from Aaron Rodgers. And the fact of the matter is, Greeny, like you said 9 days ago, he met with them for about 6 hours. And since then, there has not been a lot of dialogue about getting a deal done. So what is the delay? What is the holdup? As Brian Windhorst would say, something's going on there.
So where does it leave things with the Vikings?
Clearly, Aaron Rodgers, in the eyes of some people, because we don't know exactly what he's thinking, has to have some level of interest in playing for the Minnesota Vikings, a team that's ready to win now, a team that plays indoors, a team that has great wide receivers, in a city in which that would represent the same path that a former Packers great all-time quarterback followed, Green Bay to New York to Minnesota. It would be the same thing here for Aaron Rodgers. The problem is the Vikings are not ready to commit right now to Aaron Rodgers. At least that's what they've said. They want to turn over their job to J.J. McCarthy. That is the plan. But lurking in the background is the idea that, well, what if J.J. McCarthy doesn't look physically ready in the spring in OTAs? What if he is not playing as well as we'd like? At that point, would Aaron Rodgers be around?
And then we got this tweet from Adam Schefter moments ago, saying Steelers owner and president Art Rooney II keeps, quote, hearing that Rodgers is, quote, headed in our direction. You know what it is? Rodgers just wants us to talk about him and look at us doing it again. It's Tuesdays. You know what that means. Time for a little anytime goal score action on FanDuel. And we bet him a couple of weeks ago, and we're still riding with OV as he tries to beat Gretzky's all-time record. And you can get OV to score tonight at +100 on FanDuel. And let's look at the main reason why. And I truly love getting to say this. It's because the Bruins stink. Over the last 8 games, they're 0-7-1 and are giving up 4.75 goals a game. Both of those worse than the NHL. Are you kidding me? That's almost 5 a game over that entire stretch. It's just weird to see. It's weird to say. It's weird to see. I guess Brad Marchand's feeling pretty good about himself right now. As he chases Gretzky, Ovi's been pretty solid as well. In 14 games in March, he was giving you a goal pretty much every other game and averaging more than a point a game. So yeah, we love the +100 tonight against a bad Boston team, especially given the historical significance. Do I think Ovi will break Gretzky's record this season? I think karmically, yeah, it's gotta happen this season. Time now for Upset Moments presented by Under Armour. And like the men's tourney, the women's bracket has also given us a chalk fest. But if we're talking just straight seeding, then yeah, I guess we had an upset last night. As number 2 UConn beat number 1 USC to make it to the Final Four, the only non-1 seed to make it in either bracket. But it wasn't a true upset, as UConn were actually massive favorites to win the game. Favorites because USC was without superstar and future first overall pick in the 2027 WNBA draft, Juju Watkins. This will be UConn's 24th trip to the women's Final Four, the most in the game by far, with Tennessee sitting second at 18. But number 6 on the list and making a run of late is South Carolina, and the team that we think will make the finals against UConn, which would be an unreal matchup, as those two teams have won 7 of the last 11 championships, with South Carolina being the defending champs and winning 2 of the last 3 years. Beating this year's UConn team starts with stopping Paige Beckers, who was the consensus first overall pick in the WNBA draft this year, and she went off in the Elite Eight, dropping 31 on USC. But that's what she's been doing all tourney, as she is hands down the best player in college basketball, averaging 29 a game. And we look at those stats, she's filling it up everywhere. Like, how are you close to shooting 60% from the field and from 3? Like, are you kidding me? Paige is incredible. If you don't know her name yet, I don't know how. Just keep watching the star shine. That's it for me today. I'm Sarah Picking 3 Star New Pacific. Have a good one.